Hans Niemann has been destroying the field at Tournament of Peace happening in Zagreb. The latest in his victim list is Ivan Sokolov. You can even see Vasil Ivanchuk in round 3, who he defeated. In the game against Ivan Sokolov, this was the brilliant move that Hans Niemann played. Instead of just recapturing, he goes for a sacrifice, a knight sacrifice out of the blue. And that caught Ivan Sokolov totally off guard, and he went on to win the game, did Hans. So let me show you the proceedings before and after this move. It was a quiet Gioco piano, a Gioco pianissimo with c3 and d3. d6, castles, h6, knight d2. So we have a very normal looking Gioco piano where the knight comes to g3 and then tries to get to h4 together. So he's following a very regular plan, knight e7, black reroutes the knight to g6, pawn d4. Takes, white has the sender, but the sender cannot move forward easily. If you move d5, it opens up this bishop. If you go e5, then there'll be an exchange of queens probably. d5 by Ivan Sokolov, e5, knight moves, bishop moves, and now c5. Knight went to g3. Position is completely equal now. Black is equalized. Bishop f5. Knight takes knight was also fine. Here takes, and takes a temporary pawn sacrifice because you can also take here right away if you want to. But before that, Sokolov plays queen d5, attacking the rook. Rook went to g4. If knight takes pawn, there is bishop takes h6 in the air. So Sokolov first plays king h8. He is in no hurry to take the pawn back. You can't, yeah. So here you can't take the pawn because then the queen would hang. So the pawn will fall. There are four pieces attacking it, and there are only 3 defenders. And if needed, there'll be a fifth attacker. So the pawn will fall. Queen d3 takes, and this is where Hans Niemann played a move that completely surprised Ivan Sokolov. He played knight g5. He had already planned it. He just took less than a minute to play knight g5. Actually, 30 seconds to play knight g5. And Sokolov took 5 minutes and he decided to take the sacrifice. The correct thing would have been just to play g6. If you play g6, then what can white do? Black has space for the king, so the sacrifice will not work now. So white will have to move the knight back to e4 or f3. You can go to e4 and then black can play h5 and the position is completely fine. Black can even claim a little bit of advantage. The rook is slightly out of play. Instead, Ivan Sokolov took the piece. That was the grave mistake. Because now after bishop takes, the threat of rook h4 is so strong. Rook h4, queen h7 is so big. Even if you make space with f4, f5 or f6, just pawn takes pawn. And if pawn takes back, the king is completely open. Rook check and queen jumps in. So here rook check will come. And after king g7, it is queen h7 checkmate. So can't do that. So black will have to play something like king g8. Now you have bishop h6, you have queen g6, all these ideas are in the air. So it's difficult to play even after f5. So Sokolov decided to give back the piece because it's a fork, so you have to take it. Queen takes, and now we have an endgame with an extra pawn for Hans Niemann. That extra pawn is doubled, but the pieces are active. It is a decent advantage for white, actually, because the d8 square is controlled, so rook cannot come to the open file. White will have access to the open file. Bishop d8 was played. Bishop c7 would have been better attacking the pawn. And now bishop e3 attacking c5, bishop e7, king h1, preparing rook g1, rook e8, and now f4 defending the pawn in case of a discovered attack, bishop f8, and now a4. This is where he plays really computerish move, like pretty accurate moves. You can see his accuracy was 97 and Sokolov's was 90. A4 is not a very natural move, but yeah, he goes for a4 first, and now rook a6. And here another computer looking move. In no way am I accusing Niemann, but it's just very accurate play. Bishop to d2. I mean, normally what would you do here? You would develop the rook, right? Rook to d1 or g1. That seems like a natural thing to do. Goes to bishop d2. The idea is very simple. It stops a rook from developing to a good square because a5 would hang. I mean, you can still play rook b6, but yeah, rook h6 is also possible attacking h3. But a5 would hang, and it's preparing bishop c3. So that's the purpose of bishop d2. Pawn c4, bishop c3. Rook h6, king h2 defending the pawn. Bishop b4, rook g1, pressure on g7. g6, now rook d1 back, controlling the open file. Takes, rook e7, stopping the entry into the 7th rank. But Hans Niemann comes to the 5th rank, and the pawn is almost gone. See the rook over here, it's completely stuck. It's looking really silly on h6 after the g6 move. So Sokolov is feeling pretty helpless here. And now after b6, rook d for attacking the pawn, the c pawn, and again only moves rook c7, and now just rook d6. So rook d5, forcing b6, rook d4, forcing rook c7, and then rook d6, attacking the pawn again. And now if rook d7, it's basically a rook up for white. You can even play e6 and takes and put pressure on g6, or just the c pawn would fall after rook c6. Even ideas of f5 are possible. So here Sokolov resigned, and understandably so. It's a completely helpless position where his rook got stuck in the corner. So Hans Niemann is on 6.5 out of 7 with a performance of 3003.